This is just a reminder or heads up before we get into the video. This video was recorded about a couple days ago, probably last week, before the most recent stuff came out about Ezra Miller and his so-called apology. I will be speaking about the apology, but it will not be in this particular video. I will address the apology in the live stream. So if you want to find out what I have to say about his apology and get my reaction to whatever it is that he said, because I have yet to read it, even at the time of me recording this part of the video, make sure you tune into my live stream this upcoming Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. With that being said, let's get into the video. I cannot count how many times this individual by the name of Ezra Miller has had run-ins with the law in just this year alone. I mean, we're talking about dating all the way back to March, when he had the incidents that happened. Notice I said incidents that occurred in Hawaii. You know, at the karaoke bar, at the hostel, amongst other things. Then you get wind that he was apparently grooming some girl and all of that happening. And then fast forward to what just recently happened. So in case you were unaware, but I'm very certain that you are by now, Ezra Miller was in Vermont and he stole some liquor. I believe he stole it from a home, if I'm not mistaken, but I'm going to check it out in the article because I can't remember if it was a store or if it was from a home. But I do know that alcohol was involved. And I said he's the last person that needs to have any type of, as I call it, high spirits. But because of that, he has been officially charged with felony burglary in the state of Vermont. And one of the things that stuck out to me was he's in Vermont, because the last time we heard about him was that, you know, he was in Hawaii and most likely back stateside, more so probably in California somewhere, maybe LA. But he's in Vermont, so he's on the East Coast now. I say he activated his flash abilities, and now this is where he's at. And it's so many people that could be blamed for the ongoing of his behavior, even outside of himself. Clearly, he's definitely to blame for his own mishaps, his own missing ways, because I do call him the menace. It's like I call him the menace of Hollywood for a reason. Clearly, like, look at it. But one other thing I also talk about is he has the Trinity protecting him. Now, I've talked about it on my channel a couple of times, but I feel that we should go into more detail about how this Trinity protects him, because it's very rare that you have all three give you cover, and he literally is covered by all three. But before I actually get into that, I'm going to read the article coming from Variety that goes into some more detail about Ezra Miller and his recent incident. Ezra Miller, the embattled star of Warner Brothers' The Flash movie, has been charged with felony burglary in Stamford, Vermont, according to a Vermont State Police report. According to the police report, Vermont State Police were notified of a burglary complaint from a residence in Stamford at 5:55 p.m. on May 1st. Now, that's interesting. They said on May 1st. We are in August, almost in the middle of August. And they're just now reporting something that happened all the way back on the 1st of May. Police found that several bottles of alcohol were taken from the residence while the homeowners were not present. After collecting statements and looking at surveillance videos, police found probable cause to charge Miller with felony burglary into an unoccupied dwelling. Police located Miller on August 7th at 11:23 p.m. and issued them a citation to appear in Vermont Superior Court on September 26th for an arraignment. Look at that gap between the first and now. And look at the gap between now and when he has to go to court. According to a Rolling Stone investigation in June, Miller has been housing a 25-year-old mother and her 3 children, who are between the ages of 1 and 5, at the actor's home ranch in Stamford, Vermont. The property doubles as an unlicensed cannabis farm and has several firearms on the premises, according to the report. One source who spoke to Rolling Stone alleged that the 1-year-old child was found with a loose bullet in their mouth. I tell you, the story just gets weirder and weirder. It's unclear whether the Stamford properties are one and the same. This is the latest controversy to befall Miller, who has been at the center of scandals for the better part of this year. They were arrested twice in Hawaii this spring, once for disorderly conduct and harassment, and once more for second-degree assault. Miller is facing several allegations of abuse from different women around the world, not just the nation, but the world, including choking a woman in an Icelandic bar and harassing another woman in her home in Berlin. Throughout Miller's arrest and controversies, the question of whether or not the solo Flash movie will be canceled or released in theaters next year has persisted. Last week, however, Warner Brothers Discovery CEO David Zaslav reiterated that The Flash is still a go, saying, "We have seen The Flash, Black Adam, and Shazam 2. We are very excited about them. We've seen them. We think they are terrific, and we think we can make them even better." After several delays, The Flash is currently set to hit theaters on June 23rd, 2023. Variety has reached out to Miller's representatives for comment. Yeah, a lot of people want that Flash movie taken out. And you know what's so crazy? Before all of this happened, like when they announced that, the Flash movie was finally about to come out, I was actually looking forward to it. I was actually looking forward to seeing it before all of this happened, but now I really don't care to see. And honestly, I'm not the only one. Now, what's interesting is that when Ezra Miller's issues, as far as this year goes, because he had issues that stemmed way before this, it was around the whole Will Smith Oscars incident with Chris Rock. And then a couple days later, this happened. But even with what happened with Will Smith, that still overshadowed what he did, because of course Will Smith did his on a more bigger stage, and Will Smith's a bigger star, and they held on to that. And of course, he ended up suffering the consequences for it, because the Academy said that they're not allowing him to attend their events for like the next 10 years. He can still get nominated for their awards, but should he actually win, he can't actually be there in person to accept the award. But they made it seem like Will Smith did like the most heinous things. Meanwhile, this guy has literally been allowed to globetrot and be a menace. And they're still talking about releasing his movie. Meanwhile, Will Smith, his career was literally hanging up in the air for a little bit, but it seems like now things are starting to kind of get back on track a little bit for him, such as them going forward with Bad Boys, for the Bad Boys 4. I was about to say Bad Boys for Life. Like Bad Boys for Life was definitely the third one, but they're going forward with the 4th Bad Boys film and some other things as well. So it looks like things might actually be trying to take a different turn for him. Of course, people are going to still bring that up. But when it comes to Ezra Miller, before I continue, they're still releasing his movie. They're still releasing his movie, even after all the delays. I'm being completely honest with you. This movie is not going to make the amount of money that it could have made, because many people are put off, are turned off. And with all the delays, some people are like, okay, I'm just over it. And also too, with all the press that they're supposed to do for films, how's that going to look when their lead star is not even in attendance? Like, they're literally going to be interviewing all the supporting cast, including Michael Keaton, whose resume is probably the lengthiest out of everyone who's involved with this movie. He's basically a supporting character. He's definitely not the lead, even though he's playing Batman, and everyone knows who Michael Keaton is. But still, he's not the lead. He's not the Flash. It's not called the Batman. We already got that earlier this year. But this leads into what I call the Trinity. And Ezra Miller embodies all three of them. The first part of the Trinity is he is white slash, well, I would say, white male, but, he tries to he claims he's non-binary, because I noticed if you looked at it, as I read the article, they didn't refer to him as he or him. They referred to him as they. I didn't insert that in. They literally called him they throughout the article because he claims to be non-binary. But let me not get ahead of myself, because that's another part of the Trinity. But the first part is he is white. Right there, he already has privilege just on his race alone. The privilege to pretty much maneuver in a way that many others cannot. And then on top of that, he is relatively famous, but now he's more famous for his antics than he ever will be for any acting that he does. And I can't be honest. Can anyone tell me what else has he done outside of The Flash? Because I'm going to be honest, I never knew of a Ezra Miller before Justice League. I don't know him of anything outside of him playing this character. Like I said, he probably could have done other roles, but I've never heard of him. Only this one. So that's one part of the Trinity that he has. The other part of the Trinity is, like I said before, he considers himself to be quote unquote non-binary, which is an extension of the Academy. At first I was like, okay, what part of the Academy is in? He says he's non-binary. So, they already got many privileges on that, and a lot of them practically run Hollywood. So he's really protected under that. And they're a very relatively small group. And if you talk really bad about any of them, they'll try to cancel you. Notice this guy, he's quote unquote canceled in some aspects, but he's not all the way. And I said that because the Trinity is protecting him. And that Academy is definitely a huge part of the Trinity. Now, the last part of the Trinity is the one that a lot of people don't want to talk about, but I've said it on my channel many times when it comes to him. And the last part of the Trinity is Ezra Miller is Jewish. Like, if you want to talk about something or an entity or a group that quote unquote makes the world go round, as in running a lot of things, he falls into that category. Now, when you take all of what I just said about this Trinity and you throw it onto one person, ultimate protection. And I keep telling people over and over again, and it's the people that believe me as well, because they agree that, yes, that's what's protecting him. That is why he's able to constantly get away with the things that he is and will continue to do so. He has a very spoiled brat nature about himself, where he's always operated in a way where he can constantly get away with whatever he's doing because he knows no consequences are going to come his way. Now, remember how I was talking about in one of my videos about the levels of white privilege? Excuse me. And I was talking about that lady, Megan Smith. I said every white person has a level of privilege to them. I'm sorry, every white person has privilege within them or for them. Now, how many levels of privilege they have is all dependent on who that person is. Some have lower levels of it. Some have high levels. This guy seems to have an infinity level of them because of the Trinity. Because some might have one. Some may have two. But it's very rare that you have all three. And this guy definitely has all three of them. I hate to say it, but I don't think anything's going to happen to Ezra Miller. I really don't. Because if it was, they would have been dealt with him. And I hate to also say this, it's probably going to take something very drastic to happen to someone who keeps allowing him to do and get away with the stuff that he does, for them to actually wake up and actually understand, actually get what he's all about, even though it's blatantly obvious. And it's like, we know what you're waiting for. You're waiting for the other shoe to drop. But why would you want to do that? It's almost like some of the people that allow him to get away with this are entertained by his antics until he come across the right one. Because everyone's not going to care that Ezra Miller is the Flash. There's going to be some people that don't know who he is, or even some of those who do know who he is and are not going to care. And that's going to be a wrap. Excuse me. Notice he keeps terrorizing women. Soft targets. I think he only had like one run-in, as far as I know, with a guy. And I think it was at that bar or something like that. He knows what he's doing. But like I tell you, he runs into the wrong one. They're not going to care that he's the Flash. They're not going to care. They're not going to care who he's Ezra Miller. Many of them like, who is that? No one's going to care that he has the Trinity on his side. So they can continue to allow him to get away with the stuff that they've been allowing him to get away with. But all good things, or all things, I should say, because nothing good comes out of him, must come to an end sometime. Nothing runs forever. Not even the Flash. Well, in this case, him. This is a few days later after I recorded the initial part of the video. And that's why I'm glad that I don't immediately upload things as soon as I record them, because you never know what kind of things can come out. And sometimes I don't feel like having to do an extra update, but it is what it is. So this is posted on August 11, 2022, which is today that I'm recording this part. Look at what was posted on the Discussing Film Twitter page. WB Discovery are considering 3 scenarios for the Flash. First off, and I actually replied to someone who posted this up on their timeline. This is how I found it. I said the fact that they're even giving him options is bothersome to me. He shouldn't be getting any options. The first one is Ezra Miller giving an interview explaining their erratic behavior and then doing limited press. I think it's safe to say that if people had to do a poll, number 1 would be out of the question. It would be out of the equation. Number 2, Ezra Miller plays no part in the film's promotion. And 3, they completely scrapped the film. 2 and 3 are the ones where people are leaning more heavy on. Number 1 isn't even an option for people if it was left up to the people. And it says Ezra Miller plays no part in the film's promotion, but that's not going to look good for the film because, like I said before, he is the lead star. He's the leading character of the movie. So how would it look if you did press and you just had the supporting cast there and not the Flash? You know, the character, the main character. Number 3, a lot of people are saying that they should completely scrap the film. And think about it. This movie has been delayed so many times, even before all the Ezra Miller shenanigans occurred. But now we see where these recent delays are, because this movie was supposed to come out in November, if I'm not mistaken. But it got pushed back all the way to June, I believe, of next year. June or July, one of those 2 months. With all these delays, a lot of people are going to forget about it. Then, you know, Warner Brothers Discovery and all of that stuff they have going on over there, and HBO Max, and it's a mess over there. But the fact, like I said, that they're giving him options is an issue. He should not have any options. All the stuff that has been going on with this individual for the last couple of years, and even up until more recently, he should be gone. And it's crazy because they shelved Batgirl. Now, I wasn't too hyped to see Batgirl, but I wanted to see exactly like what they would have actually did with it. $90 million, and they shelved that thing in the middle of post-production, all for paying off some debts. Really, it was now a tax write-off film. Oh, we got this money now, we can use it to pay our debts off. We don't have to release the movie though. We already got what we wanted. That's really messed up when you put it into perspective, but they keep hanging on to this one because of a quote unquote reset. But I'm gonna tell you this. I think I read somewhere where this movie had like a $300 million budget. That's a lot of money. I don't think it's going to meet that, at least not now anyways. So I think that this movie is going to end up becoming a commercial failure, all because of this person right here. Honestly, it's not like it's becoming a failure because of a shorter, unknown character that's in the movie, but doesn't play a big part. That's why they had to try to find a way to get Amber Heard about the paint, because even though she's not the main character of Aquaman, she plays a big part. She's a supporting character. Like, she's next in line under Jason Momoa's character. So she would play a good part. So they say, oh, we'll reduce her part. I told people, if she's in it, I don't care if the movie it has her part reduced. I'm not seeing it. And like I said, I'm mad if it comes to that, because I like the first Aquaman movie. I was very thoroughly impressed with what they did with the underwater CGI. It actually looked very real. And that was going to be my critique if it was bad. But it got a positive critique from me. But I said, if she has any part in this movie, in that next Aquaman, I'm not watching it. People be like, oh, Taurean, you're doing too much. Am I? People were ready to cancel Will Smith. And he didn't even do an ounce of what Amber Heard and especially Ezra Miller did. But y'all want to still go and see their projects, right? I'm just saying. But y'all let me know. Number one's not going to happen. I don't even think anybody wants to be in the same room as Ezra Miller. But they're leaning on this number 2 and this number 3. So we're not going to focus on number 1. Y'all let me know in the comment section or in the chat, but definitely in the comment section, 2 or 3 between these two options. Someone inserted an option 4 and say recast him and insert the guy who plays Flash on the television show, but it's too late for that because the movie's already pretty much done. So the odds of that happening, if they did that, the movie would get pushed back another year. But it actually might get people to go watch it. Because I'm telling you, his antics has caused a lot of people to get turned off from this movie. It's not going to make, I'm guarantee you, the movie is not going to make the amount of money it could have made. But that's my take on it.